everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 223. 223 back in our virtual nerd basements.
Why don't you just lock up on the... You locked up on our thing because...
I don't know.
I think I messed up something. Hold on. Let's see here.
Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, I think they can hear you. It's just that you're not moving on the...
Yeah, I see it. Nobody's...
Hey, CD.
Hey, CD.
Let's see.
Okay, CD can hear me, so...
Yeah, I know they can hear you because I can see the audio going, but it locked up, and it's because I had the wrong view. Let's see. Let's maximize this.
Well, it's not a Nerds with Alcohol show. Oh, there we go. It's not a Nerds with Alcohol show.
I just had to maximize. I think I just had to maximize the Zoom meeting for some reason.
Okay.
So. All right,
not
so
a
there we
Nerds
go.
with Alcohol show if we don't have some technical difficulties, right?
So I'm Chris.
That's Chris. I'm Russ.
Episode 223.
Episode 223. We're back in the nerd basement, and it was a beautiful day in beautiful Detroit, Michigan.
Yep. I grilled some dinner tonight.
Oh, that's nice. What'd you have?
I made some chicken that I'm going to be having for later in the week, and then I grilled myself a steak actually, and it was one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life.
A steak?
Yep. I've actually started putting red meat back in.
I was just gonna say you haven't eaten red meat in years.
Yeah, well, I've had some jerky since I went on the Fit Fathers diet, and I've started adding some red meat back in now because I started doing this thing. It was an online subscription thing that again I'm not going to advertise because they don't pay us, but
a food thing,
delivery thing.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's all organic. It's all grass-fed, grass-finished beef and free-range chickens. No hormones, no antibiotics. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try that because one of the things I got to tell you is, so I have some sort of skin issue where I just get itchy everywhere. It's like I mean I've had hive issues. I've had all sorts of issues. Like when I get out of the shower in the morning, a lot of days I just want to rip my skin off because I'm itching so much. I have to take an antihistamine.
Really?
But the thing is one of the things that Renee noticed was that disappears when we go to Ireland. So the thought that we have right now is that it's a food allergy that I'm having. And it may be something to do with a pesticide or a hormone or something like that that's used in the U.S. that is not allowed over there because they have much stricter rules on a lot of the stuff that they use than we do here in the U.S.
All right.
So
you're shooting for you're using an all organic kind of.
I'm trying to get rid of processed meats and get to as much organic and anti-hormone.
CD said he's just started doing it too.
Oh,
he must have recognized what you're getting.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, let me ask you, what's that running you? Because I'm interested in potentially checking out some of these things too. I mean, we go to the grocery store. I spend money at the grocery store. I end up throwing some food away because I'll buy something to make and I don't end up using all of it, or I don't have time, so I end up throwing away. Like I not so much meat. Meat can always be free. Usually goes in the freezer, but
and this shows
vegetables and various other things. And so I'm wondering. I want to kind of weigh the cost of some of these, these food prep delivery services, but I still want to be able to cook it. So I like the idea of them just giving you the package of the whole thing and the recipe, and then me eating and me cooking it, but then also knowing how to cook that then, and then I could maybe make it on my own.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So it's not cheap.
Well, no.
It's depending on what you want to get. If you get the box that they just put together every month, so it's mostly beef, or you can get beef and chicken or beef and pork. Whatever you get there, that's like $130 for it's I think 9 to 12 pounds of meat.
Okay.
If you do a custom box, which is what I did because I wanted some salmon and some chicken, and I wanted to kind of mix things up because I wanted to try a bunch of different things, at least for this first month.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't sure what the quality of the beef was or how I was going to react to having this much beef again, which I've been fine.
Take it easy, man. You haven't had beef in a couple of years, man. Your stomach's
I've had a little bit here and there. So, I mean, actually, I haven't had any issues. So, And it was probably, I think I got around 12 pounds. And that's normally that one is usually a little bit more. That one is usually just a little bit more meat. It's usually like 10 to 14 pounds, I think it is.
Okay.
And then they have a big box, which is like twice as much, or not quite twice as much. It's actually a lot cheaper if you go with the big box, but it's a lot more meat. It's like 17 up to 17 pounds. And actually, I had thought about seeing if there was somebody that wanted to like split a big box with me.
That's what Renee just said.
Yeah.
Maybe split a big box.
Yeah. And but anyway, it winds up being around like $10 per pound, which when I was shopping at Kroger is actually less than what a lot of their organic stuff is.
Yeah, see, I don't normally buy organic,
and that's
because it's a little pricey, you know. I mean,
but yeah, if you want organic and grass fed, grass finished, which I didn't know what that meant until I had to look it up to see what that means.
What does that mean?
So a cow that is grass fed means that it's left to graze.
Right.
However, that doesn't necessarily mean what they do with a lot of them is then they then put them into a stall for the last few months of their lives and just feed them grain to fatten them up. Grass finished means that they are allowed to graze for their entire lives. They are never put in a stall and fed grain.
Okay.
So that's what it means. So basically, any grass finished is almost always grass fed, but a grass fed doesn't necessarily mean it's grass finished. So.
All right.
But I will tell you this, and I was kind of skeptical about. Yeah, I read some reviews and they were saying it's fantastic and the meat is really great and all this. The first steaks I had were these little ones. I don't remember what they were called, but they were smaller steaks. They were good, but they were nothing special.
Sure.
I had one of the big sirloins tonight, though, like a 10-ounce sirloin.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, it was one of the best steaks I've ever had. It had a buttery flavor. It melted in my mouth. It was absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's great, man.
And then I had like a half a plate of asparagus with it. So,
well, I normally when I buy meat these days, I'm just buying ground beef, you know, for various different things. I have been getting occasionally I'll get like a pot roast, and I have been lately treating myself to the occasional steak because honestly, I just can't afford to be buying like higher cuts of meat all the time, particularly when it's just me eating it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I will get
boxes. You can set them up to where it's every 4, 6, or 8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So,
you know, and so I mean, I think I'm more interested in. I mean, I might be interested in going in on a box of, like with you guys or something, maybe just to get some nicer meat, but treat myself. But I think I'm more interested in some of these other like meal services where it's not like. Here it is, just an all organic. Just maybe one of the ones that's more like, here's a meal that you can make, and we'll make it. We'll put the stuff together. The
blue apron.
Yeah, something like that. I got my buddy Ross was telling me about. He's doing one, and he was saying, I think it came out to something like $8 a meal, which wasn't bad.
No, that's not bad.
No, it's like, I mean, particularly if you buy like 5 at a time or something, and you're paying
for the convenience of it being brought to your home. So that's
right,
the thing. These show up. They're packaged in insulated cardboard boxes. It's all cardboard, but it's insulated. Right. They pack them in dry ice, and they actually pack them so that you don't wind up with a big chunk of dry ice you have to deal with as well. I had a little bit left in the bag. They said, don't be surprised if you wind up with nothing, because we pretty much try and set it up so that you have just enough dry ice for it to get to your house.
Yeah.
But everything was frozen. I put a bunch in the freezer. I put some in the fridge to thaw out. They do say to use a lipped bowl or something, or a lipped container to thaw them out, because flash freezing plastic or deep freezing plastic can cause it to crack. So when things start to thaw, they start to leak. And I did have a bunch of blood in there from some of the steak. Okay. But so far everything I've had is
tasty.
Fantastic. I'm actually looking forward to trying the chicken. I actually reheated. I cooked 2 of the small steaks last night, Saved one, had it for lunch today. It was absolutely amazing, even reheated. I'm actually really happy with it so far. I'm lucky enough that I am in a place where I can afford to spend the money on this. Now, am I going to do it all the time? Maybe not. Right now, I've got it set up to go every 6 weeks, I think, and I may push that out to 12 or out to 8. But the other thing was one of the things I got when I signed up. They have like deals all the time, and right now I have a free 2 pounds of ground beef for life. Every time I have an order, I get 2 pounds of ground beef.
Well, shit. All right. That sounds pretty good, man.
So this weekend, I'm actually planning on thawing some of that out and making some burgers and seeing how they turn out. So
cool. Sounds good. Well, I got to admit, I have the times that I have had organic grass-fed, beef, and I mean, I got to say, it's almost always markedly better. You can tell the difference between.
I was amazed.
And,
I was actually amazed tonight. I took my first bite and was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
this sure. And the fact that you made it yourself. Too.
Yeah.
We should move on.
Yeah, like Renee said, even being vegetarian, it's expensive to get good quality veggies and fruits.
Oh, for sure.
If you want organic, it's always more expensive. My week was good. Not a whole lot going on. Mostly work and all that. I did get eliminated from the playoffs in my curling league. It was a great game Sunday night, but I'm out. I still got to go because I run the Sunday league, but still, it was a good game. Had a great time. I'm done with that league. I play tomorrow night for my normally it's Thursday, but we're doing a makeup game tomorrow. We're playing the number one team there. It has world champions and Olympic coaches on it. And so we're not expecting to win. It wouldn't be the first time we knocked off the first place team being the last place team, but we're not expecting it. And if that's the case, then my curling season's done after tomorrow. So because I'm not going to curl again. This is the time of year where I'm like, all right, even with a shortened season this year, I'm not happy doing the mask. I mean, I almost want to just say forget it and just let them have the win and be done with the season, because I'm tired of curling in a mask. It's every time I'm done, there's so much condensation that builds up inside that mask during a game that my throat is just raw at the end from breathing in that wet air.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So.
All right. I actually walked by your curling club today where you took the dog for a walk when I came home from work.
Beautiful day for that.
Lovely day for it. It's kind of funny, I think my dog is hanging on to his like poop and waiting for us to take him for a walk, because he shat like 3 times on that walk, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is a lot of shit. And he was kind of listless the other night. He was kind of like bummed out, seemed kind of depressed. And then I was like, well, maybe there's a lot of shit in the backyard. Maybe he doesn't want to, poop in the backyard. There was not that much. I just went back there tonight after we got back from the walk and cleaned up the yard, and there was not that much poop back there. And I'm just like, I think this dog is like waiting for us to take him on a walk so he can shit on the walk as opposed to shitting in the backyard. Oh, this dog, it's going to be the death of me. I just know everybody is enjoying the poop talk here. This is the poop section.
I already ate.
Good. I did too. So my week was decent. It's okay. Typical kind of stuff. We had a great game on Friday.
Yep, we did have our game on Friday. That was a lot of fun. Talk
about it a little bit. I think that'd be fun. And just kind of same old. I was just doing still at the studio right now, little bits here and there. I'm hearing more stuff coming out of Florida for the new Renaissance Festival down in, the kind of jury-rigged, Ren Fair that they're putting on in Dade City down there. Some of my friends are involved, and I'm hoping that it ends up turning out well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think Scott is going to do it, but I'm not certain yet. I haven't talked to him about it. But yeah, just kind of getting by, you know. But yeah, we should. What are you drinking?
I am drinking. I actually have two different things tonight because, partially because it's the time of year for one of them, but the one I'm drinking tonight, the one I'm really talking about, I'm going to be talking about is a new beer from Founders, one of the local breweries here in Michigan. It's something I just happened to see at the store while I was there, and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. And I brought it home, and it's absolutely delicious. It's called Four Giants IPA. It's an Imperial India Pale Ale by Founders. That's
Oh,
the it's
nice.
kind of glary, but still. It is 9.2% ABV and 80 IBUs. This it is a nice coppery color.
Mm.
It doesn't have a strong head, but it has actually quite a like tropical aroma, like a tropical fruit aroma.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a sip here. It has a strong hop flavor, but unlike a lot of the Imperial IPAs that I've had, where it's like a punch in the face of hops and bitterness. This one, it's actually a really good balance. It is bitter, but it's got that good balance of a solid bitterness to the malt flavor and
Okay.
the malt sweetness, and it really balances out really good. It is more on the bitter side, but it's kind of like that tropical fruit rind type of thing. It's almost like if you get a little bit of the like an orange peel in a drink or something like that. It's got that little bit of bitterness and that kind of flavor of bitterness. But I think it's fantastic. I will give this, and I actually I think oh no, I didn't post it the other night, but when I had one of them, I'm gonna say this is probably a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
It's one of the best Imperial IPAs I've ever had.
4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, Four Giants IPA by Founders. If you can find it, definitely check it out if you like IPAs.
Okay.
So, what about you?
I am. I got something new from Blake's today. I stopped at the bottle shop and was like, well, actually on the way back from the walk with the dog, and I was like, there's a whole bunch of new ciders right now. Like, holy shit! I was like, damn, what happened? You know, there's like cider explosion right now. Um, but Blake's has got something new from them. It's their farm stand series, and this is strawberry lemonade from our backyard since 1946.
Yeah.
It is a 6.5 alcohol by volume, so you know it's got a little kick to it. Um, I had a strawberry cider last week too, and I had a straw the new Angry Orchard strawberry, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yes, yeah, and that was more like just a straight strawberry. This is a strawberry lemonade, and I gotta tell you, man, this is really nice. It's got this sweet. It starts off with the street sweet of the strawberry, and then it kind of kicks you a little bit with that lemon kind of tartness at the end, and the back end, and it's almost a little bitter, but in a good way. You know, like the sourness kind of ends up, you know, like kind of lingering, and it creates like a kind of a bitterish taste, but it's kind of in a good way, and I like it. I like it a lot. It's really nice. I'll definitely buy this again. You know, and I mean
Yeah.
Blake's. I rarely tasted a Blake cider and went, oh, nah. I mean, there's a couple that I've avoided because I just know I'm not going to like it. Like I don't like coffee, and they've got like a coffee sort of
Yeah.
ciderish kind of thing, and I'm like, I know I'm not going to like that.
I've tried that one. It's awful.
Yeah, so I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
But this one is real nice, and then next week I also bought a 6-pack of another one, and I believe it is a blackberry.
No, it is a
Or it's a blueberry.
blueberry. It is
Yeah, it's a blueberry.
it is a straight up copy of New Wave Lemonade.
New Wave Lemonade. That's what I was guessing, honestly. So we'll test it out. We'll see.
The difference is it's a cider versus a mead.
Right.
New Wave Lemonade's a mead. So
right, exactly. And these are both ciders.
But it's a straight up copy of Renee's recipe.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I mean, you got to think about the fact that B Nectar and Blake's are honestly direct competitors.
Time for a raid.
Yeah. Was that Renee?
No, it's CD.
Oh, it's CD. Rivals? Yeah. I mean, they really are. It's fine. But they really, Blake's and B Nectar are definitely direct competitors. I mean, Blake's doesn't make mead, but it's a similar kind of drink. I mean, when people they're like zombie killer kinds of stuff and whatnot is going to directly compete with some of the stuff that Blake's makes.
Saint Cherie.
Huh?
Saint Cherie.
Yeah, Saint Cherie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Saint Cherie. It's not bad. It's not bad. So anyway, it isn't. I did notice though, when I was at the shop that the B Nectar is putting out some of their various meads and whatnot in cans.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Zombie Killer is one of the big ones. Actually, They have a big canning day coming up. Not this week, but next week.
I saw, Zombie Killer, and I think Kill All the Gophers in cans.
They're doing those. I believe they're doing those in like the seltzer style cans.
Yeah, the seltzer style cans. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's kind of cute that they're doing them in those. But I actually like Kill All the Golfers. It's not Gophers. It's Golfers. It's not Kill All the Gophers.
Gophers. It's Kill All the Golfers. Yeah. Wouldn't they lock me up?
They're gonna put me in jail.
They're gonna lock me up and throw away the key. Golfers, not golfers. I love Caddyshack.
I do too. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love that so many of B Nectar's things are actually movie references.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Stupid man suit, dude's rug.
Dude's rug. Yeah.
It really chides the room together.
Yeah. It's crazy. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking. So we got strawberry lemonade from Blake's Hard Cider, and from you again.
Four Giants IPA.
Four Giants.
Imperial IPA from Founders.
It's because we couldn't get the standard cans.
All right. So I have something I want to talk about real quick because it's something that's been bugging me, and I've been seeing a lot of it in the news and stuff like that lately. And this is another one of those, I don't want to go off in a rant here sections, types of things, but I am so tired of seeing the right in politics.
You're so tired of seeing what?
The right in politics, the right wings, using the term woke as a derogatory term.
Yeah.
And how it's horrible, and and like all this stuff about like how Coca-Cola and I forget how many others, but there was a bunch of people who were backing the whole MLB moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta and moving it to Denver because of the new laws that they put in, which are basically voter suppression laws.
The voter suppression stuff, yeah.
And I mean, the idea that giving someone water or
a bottle of water,
or food on if they're in line to vote is a crime is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the thing is that, well, I will fully admit I am not the most woke person in the world. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to learn. I am a white man who grew up with white privilege and did not have to experience a lot of the things that a lot of people have had to deal with. Right. And now as an adult, I'm learning about all these things and opening my eyes to what's going on in the world, and I want to make the world a better place.
Right.
That if that makes me woke, then fine. That's a badge that I will wear. Yeah. And I saw something online that said I would rather be excluded for the people I include than included for the people I exclude.
Okay. Yes. I'd have to
And
agree.
I agreed with that. So the idea of this whole woke society and how people are like I think Trump's calling Coca-Cola Woca-Cola
Uh,
now,
you
and
know
all
what the
this.
guy that you know what that guy the guy is irrelevant right now.
Yeah, he really
Even
is.
so, he's irrelevant.
But there's nothing wrong with being woke. There's It's basically people trying to not repeat the glaring mistakes of the past
Yeah.
and
Quite right.
present,
Hmm.
and trying to change things for the better for humanity as a whole, not just for one particular group. Does that mean that certain groups that have entertained a higher standard for a long time are going to have to put up with not having that superiority? Yes.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? No. There is nothing wrong with us becoming a more inclusive society.
Quite right.
We need each other if we're going to survive on this world. And I'm just tired of hearing people like Trump and even McConnell, which by the way, we got to stop calling McConnell a turtle, because that's an insult to turtles. I
It's
like
true.
turtles. Turtles are actually kind of cool.
I like turtles.
What McConnell is, if you look at him, and I saw this the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, he really is. He's a Golgothan.
He's a what?
A Golgothan. A shit demon.
He's a shit demon.
If you look at him and look at the shit demon from Dogma,
yeah.
he is a slightly thinner version of the shit demon. They look very much alike.
I won't be able to unsee it now. That's for sure.
And
fair enough. He's a Golgothan. I'm all right with that.
But yeah, so that's the thing. I'm tired of hearing about, hearing all the, it's just, Woca-Cola and these woke people and blah, blah, blah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
The world needs to change.
Absolutely. The world needs to improve.
Yes.
And with improvement comes change. And you're right. It's, it's people that criticize people for being woke are people that basically are just fighting against change. They fear change.
It's not that they fear change. It's that they fear they're going to lose their power.
Right. Exactly. And so that's essentially fear. They don't want to lose their power. They don't want to lose, their control. So they demonize things like being quote unquote woke and make it so it's not a good thing. Now I do feel, and I agree with you. On this for sure. I do feel like though there are times that people take the whole some of these issues and go a little too far. Stella brought this up to me earlier today. She got in an argument, something about, the character Mrs. Frizzle from the Magic School Bus?
Not specifically. Renee.
Well, you're familiar with the cartoon.
Renee wants me to watch it. I never actually watched it.
Okay, well, the original
wants me to watch it. We have a trade. She will watch the D&D cartoon with me if I watch Magic School Bus with her.
Okay, well, I mean, Magic School Bus was a great educational cartoon, of the time, from the early 90s to through the mid 90s. And they recently rebooted it. And the character is like the younger sister of the original Mrs. Frizzle. Okay. And now apparently she got into some sort of argument on Facebook today about somebody saying that the new Mrs. Frizzle is homophobic and anti-Semitic. And and she was like, what? And apparently the reason behind it is because the original Mrs. Frizzle was very, she was kind of, kind of kooky. Her hair was a little frizzy and she wore, kind of wild dresses. And I mean, she took these kids on mystical journeys of knowledge on a magic school bus, and she looked kind of witchy, kind of like are you good? Right? Yeah, are you a good witch or a bad witch? So, and apparently the new Mrs. Frizzle or Miss Frizzle is it looks a little the character design on the cartoon is a little more homogenous. They kind of evened her out a little bit. She doesn't look quite as kooky. So, and because of that, they're calling her homophobic, apparently, which is ridiculous, considering the fact that the character, the original Mrs. Frizzle, was voiced by Lily Tomlin, who is gay and has been for, forever. Oh, yeah.
I never knew that about her.
Well, Lily, I saw an interview with her, basically. Lily Tomlin has been gay, but she never made an issue.
You know what? That's the thing. I don't give a shit.
Right. The point is there's no way an icon like Lily Tomlin is going to voice a character that's homophobic. And then the new one is voiced by Kate McKinnon, who is also gay. It's just like, and then they also, because the character I don't know, I guess, and they called her, she was anti-Semitic because of the design of her face. Her face looks less Jewish or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see all of the discussion and whatnot, but it was just, that's one of those situations where I think people are taking some of the PC culture that we're dealing with now and the woke culture and everything and going too far the other direction. We got to find that pendulum has got to swing into the middle at some point, and so I am in a great deal of I have a great deal of appreciation for what you're saying and everything, and agreeing with it. But at the same time, there's we also have to remember not to take things too far, because I mean, it's the same thing that it talks about how how comedians are fearing getting canceled and whatnot because of going too far with jokes, or people not understanding parody or not understanding a joke and saying, you're racist.
You have to be able to, comedy is the one thing that you have to give some latitude. Now there are certain things that are still wrong.
Yeah. And still taboo.
It's still taboo. Yeah. But there are things that are actually satirical.
Right.
And satirical parody, those types of things are a great part of comedy and are something that's necessary to call out certain things and call attention to certain things. But yeah, it's you're right. There is a balance that needs to be struck.
And CD's got a good point. We all have natural prejudices, or those from our environment, and he goes, I think being woke is just realizing those and trying to adjust for it in your brain. And
it's trying to be a better human is what being woke is.
Yeah.
It's really all it is. It's trying to be a better human. And that's something that I think everyone needs to strive for, is to try and be just a better human on this planet. There's only one fucking race on this planet.
Yeah.
And it's Absolutely. The human race.
The human race.
Yeah. There are different ethnicities, but there is only one race. I actually learned that in an anthropology class.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There is not enough differences between us just because the color of our skin is different doesn't make us a different race.
Absolutely. So to lighten things up, as we should probably let's move on. So I had an interesting thing happen at work today. This is for the comic fans out there. A friend of it's being a lifelong comic aficionado like myself. I often get friends come up to me and say, hey, I found a bunch of comic books in my basement, or my dad had a bunch of these, or my brother, or these, whatever. Would you like to take a look at them? Or do you think these are worth anything? Or, I kind of want to sell these. What do you think? That kind of thing. And I'm almost always happy to take a look at them. Sometimes I get disappointed because maybe they're damaged, or I find probably a valuable book, but it is damaged, or it's just like
got some water damage, or
it's either water damage or it's
sideways,
or if it was in mint or near mint condition, it would be a $50 book, but because it's kind of messed up, maybe it's only $10. You may get $10 out of it. and aftermarket is a little rough these days too. It's like, I mean, you can't take a comic to a comic shop that says on the internet it's worth $50, and then, or that you could buy it for $50 elsewhere, and then expect to get that money for it.
To expect even to get half would be ridiculous.
Your best bet is crazy. And I'll tell you right now, your best bet is to go to the internet. If you've got comics that you need to sell, it takes a little time and effort, but go to eBay.
And know how to ship them.
And
know how to ship them.
And know how to ship them, exactly. But go to eBay. If you can't do that, then your other better bet is maybe going to a con and trying to sell them at a convention. Not that we're having a whole lot of conventions right now, but
even that can be tough because there's so many people there doing the same thing.
Exactly.
You got to hope that person that's looking for it wanders by your booth, and you have to pay for it.
Well, no, I mean, you're
trying to sell it to somebody at a con. It's one of the people that's at a booth at a con.
Yeah, exactly. You go to, but the thing is a lot of those guys, a lot of people, a lot of the vendors that show up at conventions are there to sell, not as many of them are there to buy. So your best bet these days,
unless you got something super special.
Exactly. Your best bet these days, honestly, the internet, to get true value out of what you want to get. So anyway,
on eBay you can set like minimums too. So if the bid doesn't even hit that, then you don't sell it.
Right. So one of my coworkers found he had a box of comics, not even a comic box, but just a kind of a shoe box, oversized, like a boot box, really. And he's like, hey, I've got these comics. And then I was going to take them to the comic shop and see what the guys at the comic shop had to say about it. But I was thinking maybe you, if you want to take a look at them, that'd be cool. Just give me an idea. Like, absolutely. I'm not so well-versed that I could grade a comic book. Cause they get number grades now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do they?
But I can.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they get like 9s, 10s.
They get 9.8.
It's a 10 scale, right?
It's a 10 scale. So it can, 5.0, 7.5, whatever. But I can at least look at a comic and go, this is mint, this is near mint, this is very good, whatever. I can ballpark it for you.
This is a 5-year-old had it.
Yeah, this is somebody spit on it, oh, there's gum on it. Get out of, so anyway,
gum.
Gum, right? So anyway, I opened up the box and I'm expecting just to see bullshit, right? And he had said that they were all about 60 cents on the cover price, which puts them, and he said they were all Marvel comics, and that puts them in the early to mid 80s.
Yeah,
about 83, 84, 85.
That was right when I started collecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I started collecting right after that, right around 86.
Although my earliest comic, I think, is 78, and it's an Avengers.
Well, I got comics here and there, but
yeah,
I was collecting actively. It was when I was 12 years old, and I was in 86. So I open the box and I look at it, and the first things that I'm like, okay, yeah, these are Marvel. These are mostly Spider-Man books from the mid 80s or the early to mid 80s. And I'm like, a couple of them. Okay, this is pretty good. There was 3 out of the 4 issues of Cloak and Dagger that introduced the characters of Cloak and Dagger. A couple of bucks there. There was an issue of Marvel Team Up, which was the Spider-Man book that always paired Spider-Man with another superhero. Every 1 issue or every 2 issues, it was him just teaming up with some other hero. And the first one was the Vision and Scarlet Witch. I was like, and I looked it up, and it was only worth like $4, like mint. But with how popular the Vision and Scarlet Witch is right now because of the show, that book probably just tripled in value. So I was like, this one, you could probably get a couple bucks for this one. It's not bad.
The other thing with eBay is you can get international people, collectors, and a lot of times they can drive up a price.
Right, exactly.
Because it's harder to find in places like Japan or in Europe or things like that.
Or Europe or whatever, yeah. Now the thing is, I keep going through and I'm like, yeah, there's some cool. There's the very first issue of The Thing, when The Thing got his own comic book for the first time, and the very last issue of Ghost Rider, which features like a cure to Johnny Blaze when he's exorcised of the demon, and I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool too. I come across the very first appearance of the black symbiote costume in the comic books in Amazing Spider-Man. And I was just like, holy crap, you got a milestone issue here. This is actually worth quite a bit, because it was the first appearance of that suit in the Spider-Man comic. Now the suit premiered in, I think it was Secret Wars number 7. I think it was 7. It might have been a little bit later, but I think it was 7. And so that's actually worth quite a bit too. But this was the first appearance in the actual comic, in the actual Amazing Spider-Man comic. So wow, this is worth quite a bit, man. You got a couple of treasures in here. I flipped it. I moved that one out of the way, and what's underneath it? Secret Wars number 1. And I literally did this. Holy shit! It was one of those times when you're kind of like, what the fuck, man? Do you know what you have here? He had no idea. No idea. Dave is 32. He's not a comic fan. He's more like into cards and coins. So I was just like...
Secret Wars number 8.
Okay, number 8. Thank you. So I was just like...
He's got it on the cover, actually, too.
Yeah, it's right on the cover, and he's kind of posing. And yeah. So I was just like...
Spider-Man 252.
252. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And like, and he had issue.
Amazing
Spider-Man.
Because there was Amazing, Spectacular, and Web
of at the time. Yeah. There was. It was just like it blew my fucking mind. It blew my hair back. Honestly, I was like, dude, this book is very valuable. Now we looked it up online, and mint it has sold for $2,000. For just under $2,000.
There's somebody actually wants $3,800 for it right now on eBay.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But now I was, and I told him, I was like, this book is worth quite a bit, but it's not a mint condition. It's not near mint. It's very good, which means I'd probably place it at like an 8.0 maybe if I'm reading the numbers right.
There's a 7 on there right now for $209.95.
So yeah, and it's a nice book. So I told him you could get $200 to $300, maybe a little bit more if you really.
He'd have to have it graded officially.
Yeah, and I said to him, I go, dude, have this book graded. It's well worth it, So anyway, it was just one of those like holy shit moments where you're like, I was expecting to see like just some random fucking comics from that era, maybe a Captain America, throw a couple X-Men in there, a couple of Spider-Mans, whatever, just some random books. The thing about it, too, is that era was some really solid storytelling, man. We had some, particularly in Spider-Man, had some really great books. He had some stuff up dealing with the Hobgoblin and the introduction of that character and figuring out who he was. The thing
is that at that time, I didn't collect Amazing. I collected Spectacular.
Okay.
And I was ignoring the other two.
Right.
And I'm kicking myself now for having ignored them.
There was another issue where Spider-Man basically visits this kid who's got cancer. He finds out this kid is a huge, huge fan of him. And he goes to visit him, and gives this kid this great day. I was like, night really, because he visits him at night when the kid's supposed to be asleep. And he gives him this interesting, this really cool night where he gets to hang out with Spider-Man. And then at the end of the issue, he takes his mask off and tells him who he really is. And he's like, oh my God, Spider-Man, this is the best thing ever. I mean, it's so incredible. Thank you so much. And then the boy goes to bed and Spider-Man leaves. And then you see Peter with tears in his eyes reading a letter because he knows that this he's got terminal cancer. And it was just like, holy shit, that I remember reading that book and going, even at a very young age, and going, wow, this is really heavy. And so that issue is actually worth quite a bit as well. And I'm just like, and when I say quite a bit, where I'm not talking like thousands of dollars, I'm talking, for a comic that sold originally for 60 cents, it's worth, 1,000 times that, whatever it is, or even more than that. That's 1,000 times that is only what, 60, maybe $60. So, it was just one of those, like, I can't believe I'm fucking seeing this, but it was really cool. Guys, if you've got a comic book or a group of comic books, or you got a box of comic books out there, don't ever discount what you might have. You could have some hidden treasures in there. You don't want to necessarily expect that it's all that you're going to have just because they're old, they're going to be worth a lot. But you may have some treasures in there. And honestly, if you're ever curious about it, find somebody that knows what they're talking about. I'm not going to say I could do it for everybody. I mean, if some of my friends, if you guys are listening, if you got some questions, I'm happy to answer them. But you could have some real serious treasures, if your dad or your grandparent had saved comics and whatnot. Just like any collectible, really. There's a lot of stuff out there that it has a lot of value that we don't even realize. That was it on that end. What do you got? Because I got a couple of quick hits before we get into.
I got a couple of quick things. Some trailers that have been coming out that I've been seeing that I'm like super excited about. One is the Army of Dead trailer.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I've not seen the trailer yet, but I hear it's pretty cool.
Holy shit, dude. Does it look fucking cool? I was kind of skeptical. I wasn't sure. I'm like, okay, it's a zombie movie. It's Zack Snyder. I'm not sure if I want to see a slow motion zombie movie. But I have to say, after watching it, one, Dave Bautista's in it, and I really like him.
I just saw an interview with him. I saw an interview on Michael Rosenbaum's Inside of You podcast, and he interviewed him, and it was such a great interview. He's such a cool dude. He lives in Tampa because he was because that's like the capital of wrestling.
Yeah.
And he started off as a wrestler, and so he still lives there because he doesn't really care for Hollywood. He doesn't care for LA. And but he was such a great interview, and I mean, I'll honestly see anything that he's involved with.
So that comes out on May 21st on Netflix. I am gonna put a link to the trailer up on Nerds. I was watching so many trailers today that I'm like, I don't want to just start putting these up because I'm just gonna like put up a shit ton and they're not gonna get seen the way that they need to be. But it actually looks really good. So basically the premise is that it's in the future, and they don't really give you a lot of info. There's like this whole like thing about where he's being hired along with like a group of people to basically go into Vegas.
Okay.
Which is like a no-go zone, and it's and they're supposed to basically steal all the money that's still there and bring it back to this guy. And the reason that nobody goes there is because there's a fuck ton of zombies there. So it's a zombie heist movie is what they're saying it is.
Okay.
And these zombies though are different. They're fast for one. So they're fast zombies.
Uh-huh.
But they're also not dumb. They're actually organized and intelligent zombies.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and there's like a queen zombie that looks like she used to be a showgirl because she's dressed in like a showgirl outfit.
That's kind of cool.
But yeah, what's funny is at the end it talks about, it shows, rated R for, and it lists all these things. And one of the things was brief nudity / graphic nudity. I'm like, well, that's a new one for me.
Okay.
The only thing I can think of is it's going to be zombie nudity.
Probably.
And so it's going to be like a decaying corpse type of nudity.
That sounds graphic to me.
Yeah. But it looks really cool. It looks like a great action type movie. Mm-hmm. So I'm really looking forward to that. The other one that I saw a trailer for, this one just has a 2021 release, and I still need to go back and see the original. This is a sequel. It's The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yeah, I didn't see the original either, even though Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson were both in it, and I'm
huge fans of both.
I adore both those actors, and for whatever reason, I never got around to seeing.
Selma Hayek's in it too. She's actually the wife.
Yeah, she's
I didn't realize that.
She's not in the original. She's in the sequel.
I thought she was in the original.
Is she in the original? Too. She might be in the original. Either way, dude.
She is the wife in the second one.
Yes.
And she
Maybe
still
she
looks fucking smoking.
Oh man, she's amazing.
I have had the hots for her since
Desperado, dude. Since Desperado.
Yep.
Since her first American kind of feature, I have always adored Salma Hayek.
She's actually she seems really cool in all the interviews I've seen, and she is just absolutely dropped.
She's got a movie on Amazon that just came out with Owen Wilson. It seems to have something to do with like virtual reality or something. I haven't had a chance to watch. I put it on my Amazon like watch list. I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet though.
But anyway, the trailer for Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, it looks fucking hilarious. And I did look up Hitman's Bodyguard, and it's on Hulu right now.
Oh,
so I will have to go check that out real soon.
Awesome.
I'm adding it. I'm adding it to my list along with Godzilla, King of Monsters, and Kong Island, and then Godzilla versus Kong.
So, all of those, man.
Yep.
Really great. I mean, Godzilla versus King Kong or Kong versus Godzilla, whatever it is, was really great. It was really, really fucking great.
But yeah, so those were the ones I've seen. Is it
The Bodyguard or is it?
It's The Hitman's Bodyguard.
The Hitman's Bodyguard. Just want to. There it is. Yeah. It appears that it is. Shit. I think it might be part of something. Switch to Hulu Live. Oh. Well, that's weird. Oh, it's on TNT Live. I see. So you need Hulu Live to watch it, I think.
Oh, really?
Hulu plus Live TV, because I mean, I just looked it up.
I don't want to watch it in like a fucking. I'll rent it.
Yeah, just rent it. Yeah, but it's amazing how so many things are coming to Netflix. I mean, it's like Ryan Reynolds has this huge contract with them.
Yeah, that's the thing. That one is. I don't think that one's coming to Netflix. That one's actually
just coming out
in theaters. I think in 2021. They didn't actually have a date. I don't believe. Now another thing coming to Netflix is the Shadow and Bone series, which actually comes out in 10 days. And I had not heard of this. I want to say I vaguely heard of the books, the Shadow and Bone, and it's the other book series, Six of Crows. And they're combining the two because they happen in the same world, and I guess they're combining these two series of books. They're like 2 books each series or something like that, into a 8-episode series on Netflix. And I guess people are going crazy because these are like super beloved books. And Renee said she's had them on her list of books to get for a while. I guess it's a fantasy series.
Okay.
From some of the stuff that I saw, it looks like it could be kind of cool. So, I mean, I will definitely give it a watch when it comes out. Again, that one premieres April 23rd on Netflix. So that'll be yet another thing for me to watch along with, well, that'll be right around the time that Sam and Bucky end. And,
right. We've got a few weeks before Loki starts too.
Yeah. And I'm going to have to catch up because I'm going to have Shadow and Bone, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Invincible, The Nevers.
Dude, Invincible. Fucking Invincible. Watch Invincible.
I am 1 episode behind on Invincible. We've watched the first 4. I haven't watched the 5th episode yet. But the way they end every fucking episode, I'm like, fuck!
Yeah, I know. It's so good, dude. Oh my God. It's so good. And it's really following close to the comics, man. I cannot wait to see
I feel like I can't even talk to you about it because you know what's going on. And I have no clue. So, I mean, I'm watching this without ever having read the comic.
Right. I almost wish that I could do that, because it is so good. Guys, watch Invincible on Amazon. Oh, my God. It's such a fantastic
it's been great
fantastic
so far. And the voice cast is just fucking amazing.
And it's not, I call it's
gore extraordinary.
Such a great cartoon.
Really
what's that?
Gore, yeah, Invincible, gore extraordinary, yes. They warn about flashing lights. They don't warn about people getting ripped in half.
Mm-hmm. I shouldn't just say it's not just a good cartoon. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's animated or not, it's a great show. And like I said, having been a fan of the comic, they're killing it, absolutely killing it. And I'm sure it'll get a sequel or a second season at least.
I thought
Probably
it
more.
already had a second season.
Has it been approved for a second season?
I thought so. I thought I had seen that.
It might have been. I don't know. But yeah, so many good stuff. And you're right. Ghost streaming is the future now. I mean, it is. Yes. That's where we're going. The networks are going to go away, or they're going to become their own streaming services. That's what's going to happen.
He said that it gives him the Dead Rising 2 vibes as well.
Yeah.
Which I never played Dead Rising or Dead Rising 2.
No, but I'm familiar with what he's talking about. Me too. So,
the
more
casino
semi-sentient zombie
is great.
Approach.
Yeah.
Huh?
The aesthetic, the casino with zombies aesthetic is great.
For sure. All right, so I got a few things here, real quick. So they did say that there is a new Star Trek movie on the horizon, set for 23. J.J. Abrams has announced a new Star Trek movie set for release on June 9th of 23.
Get ready for the lens flare.
Yeah, he directed 09 and the sequel Into Darkness. So he's returning as the producer for the project. It'll be I
actually liked Beyond as well.
I liked them all. And it'll be the first new Star Trek film since the last installment in the Kelvinverse series, Star Trek Beyond, director Justin Lin's 2016 installment. As of now, there's no official information concerning the director of this latest movie, nor do we know whether or not we'll be exploring more of the Kelvinverse, perhaps pick up where Star Trek Nemesis left off with the Next Generation films, or if the film will follow a new plot entirely through the Prime timeline.
I want more Kelvinverse.
I want more Kelvinverse. I do too.
I really like the Kelvinverse.
I think if they get into the Prime, too much of the Prime stuff, it's gonna overshadow what Paramount is doing with Discovery and Picard.
I've been really happy with them doing the Kelvinverse.
I agree.
I think it's been fantastic.
Yeah. So that's good news. That's really cool.
By the way, real quick, I am on to Oberon, and this is the second beer that I was going to talk about because it's Oberon season.
It's Oberon season, right?
I missed Oberon Day. It was a couple weeks ago, but I do like Oberon. It's a great gateway beer. It's not one I drink all the time. I have it like at the beginning of spring, and then I might have it once or twice in the next couple of months, but it's not one I drink a lot. Because it is a wheat beer. It's a wheat ale, American wheat. And that's not one of my favorite styles. But, sorry, go ahead.
So we also had, I had found out, last week was First Contact Day. We didn't really talk too much about Star Trek, but I did watch some stuff over the weekend. A little bit. I did watch some stuff about Star Trek, some of the stuff that Paramount put out, particularly on their YouTube page, that were basically, panels. With Will Wheaton and Mika Burton hosted, interviewing a lot of them. And I did find out a little bit more about the new animated series that's coming out featuring Captain Janeway. And what's really neat is, I think it's, animated series. It takes place in the Delta Quadrant where the Voyager was. And what happens is apparently some young alien creatures find it's called Star Trek Prodigy, and they find a Starfleet vehicle, an abandoned vehicle out in the Delta Quadrant, and they take it for their own. And what Captain Janeway is apparently the emergency command hologram on the deck, on the ship. So Kate Mulgrew voices Captain Janeway as basically a guiding influence to these young aliens that have taken over, that are making the ship their own and their home. And they did say, so it sounded really cool. I was like, it's going to be on Nickelodeon, and it's geared towards a younger audience. But they did say that a lot of true Trek fans will probably really enjoy it. There's going to be callbacks to Voyager and to some other Star Trek stuff, and they were interviewing Kate Mulgrew specifically, and she the way she spoke about it, I mean, she spoke so glowingly. It sounds really, really fantastic. So
Ghost Hand just said Captain Janeway, everybody's favorite war criminal. Serious though, she caused some serious damage with her command.
She did.
And I didn't watch enough of Voyager, especially at the end.
Oh man,
I only watched like the first couple seasons.
Voyager
I kind of got bored. I kind of got bored with it.
It got so much better. I mean, as 709 came on, and then they developed her character, and she really, that show actually doesn't get near the credit it deserves. But that's the thing. He's right. Janeway broke some serious rules trying to get home. She broke the Prime Directive a lot. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, half of her ship was manned by rebels, weren't they?
By the Maquis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Maquis.
So I watched over the weekend. I watched Batman: Soul of the Dragon, which is the newest Batman animated movie from the DC animated series, animated movies.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yeah, it's really cool. It is basically takes place in the 70s, and it's Batman in a kung fu movie. So they use many of the more kung fu oriented like characters, like Richard Dragon.
They're really starting to really kind of grasp at straws to make.
No, man, honestly, this was fucking awesome.
Is it better than Batman Ninja? Because Batman Ninja was disappointing.
No, it was way better than Batman Ninja. Batman Ninja was a bunch of Japanese artists doing their take on Batman and putting them in that situation. It was kind of cool, but it was also like for somebody like you and I who are not huge anime guys, it was a little weird. This is if Bruce Timm, and Bruce Timm was a producer on this. Bruce Timm made a movie, a kung fu movie using Batman, and it's really more using Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
So it's some very interesting kind of thing. Basically, the story is that Bruce Wayne goes to Nanda Parbat for part of his training, to learn how to fight, and he meets up with Bronze Tiger. Richard Dragon, who's essentially DC's answer to Bruce Lee. Lady Shiva is just Shiva, and then Bronze Tiger was basically their 1970s tough guy, black guy, kung fu black guy, and he is Bronze Tiger. He's a character. He was on the Arrowverse. He was in Suicide Squad comics and stuff. So they basically, they were all training together. They become friends, and some various things happen where Richard Dragon recruits Bruce and the other two to help him get this, stop a terrorist organization, basically called Cobra, and not Cobra, not that Cobra, different Cobra, and they want to stop them from bringing this demon god to Earth, basically opening a gateway. And it was really cool, man. It's got Mark Dacascos. He plays Richard Dragon. Kelly Hu plays Lady Shiva. Michael Jai White is Ben Turner.
Okay.
Bronze Tiger. Michael Jai White was he was in Spawn, and he was in a bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Jai White has played this character, Ben Turner, on the Arrowverse. Kind of cool. James Hong is in it. Yeah. James Hong is one of the most recognizable Asian American actors there is. He plays their sensei. It's got a pretty fun cast, and it's a really awesome. It was an awesome film, and it's got that 70s like look. And
is it on HBOMax?
It should be. I think it is. If it's not, it will be soon, because it's only been on Blu-ray for like a couple weeks. Maybe no. It actually came out of Blu-ray, I think, back in February. I just hadn't had a chance to watch it. So, but I caught it, and the cool thing that they also did too was they did some really cool stuff with the choreography. Like if you're going to make a movie, a kung fu movie with Batman, an animated kung fu movie, you better really think about the fight choreography, and they really did. So it was really, really kind of cool.
What's it called? Spirit of the Dragon?
Soul of the Dragon.
Soul of the Dragon.
Batman: Soul of the Dragon.
Okay, it is not on HBO Max yet.
Okay.
But what is on HBO Max is New Mutants.
New Mutants did also just come to HBO Max. I still haven't a chance to watch it.
I will probably watch it this weekend because I really want to see it.
I've been meaning to. I bought it when it came to Blu-ray. I just haven't had time.
You should watch it this weekend. We can talk about it next week.
Yeah, I'll try and watch it. Let's see. One or two other things here before we get to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I just started watching, and you watched it too, or Bucky and Sam. We just started watching The Nevers on HBOMax.
Yes. We will get into more of that next week, I think.
Yeah.
When you get a chance to finish the show.
We'll finish it. Let me finish it. And then also, but I want to say my initial stuff. I like it.
I was highly impressed with the first episode. I mean, it was one of the most solid first pilot episodes that I've ever seen.
Little over an hour long. So, which if it was on regular TV, would put it about 90-minute show with commercials, but it's on HBO Max, so no commercials. Takes place in 1899 London.
Yep. Starts in 1896, and then
but then it jumps 3 years.
Yep.
It is a Joss Whedon show, but apparently he jumped off of it soon after they finished due to exhaustion.
Before it was finished, he jumped out in like November.
My guess
last year.
My guess is that he was asked to leave because of all of the controversy surrounding him.
Maybe, but it was before a lot of that came out.
Like Ray Fisher.
Well, it was the Ray Fisher stuff, yeah.
Ray Fisher's been calling him an asshole.
But it was before a lot of the other stuff came out.
It was before the newer stuff with Charisma Carpenter and a lot of the Buffy cast.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so
but still, he's an
really
asshole,
cool.
but the show is good.
The show is good. I would imagine he distanced himself from the show to.
But I mean, when you see the credits, it's written by Joss Whedon, directed by Joss Whedon, created by Joss Whedon, executive producer Joss Whedon.
It drops. New episodes drop on Sunday. Check it out. I think it's got some cool potential.
I really like it, and I like the character. So I'm also. It's very steampunk. And I like that.
That's your jam.
It's all like that whole Tesla technology and stuff. And one of the characters is an inventor, and I really like her. I think she's cool as hell. She's one of the main characters. It's her and I forget her name. There's Mrs. True, and those two together are just hilarious. Well, you look fantastic. I think so too.
Thank you, I say. Now, I mean, they do talk about like Joss Whedon has always been good at writing female characters, but the thing is then he also fucks them.
Then he's an asshole to them.
Right, exactly. So, and it does look like it's a very strong female cast. So I don't want to say too much. Like, we'll review the first 2 episodes next week, and that'll be, we'll review that and Winter Soldier next week. And because next week it'll be the final episode. No. Next week will be the fifth episode. And then
the final episode.
So check out the Nevers. Also a big PS5 update. They're going to be making some new updates it's the first big update to the operating system since it came out. They are making a change. Now you will be able to store PS5 games on an external hard drive. But you won't be able to play them on the external hard drive. So what it is you can install the game to the external hard drive so that it's there. And then when you want to play it, when you're ready to play it, you can transfer it over to the hard drive on the main system so that you can play it. It makes for a much faster install as opposed
That's
to
still bullshit. Just fucking.
I don't know why it is. I think it has to do with the way the hardware is constructed. But then the thing is that instead of deleting it, if you want to delete it off of you can transfer it back to the external hard drive. And so that way, if you want to get it off your internal hard drive, but you don't want to delete it completely because you're going to want to come back to it later, it's much easier to swap them out back and forth. They've also said a bunch of
technology to be able to play things off of an external hard drive on the PS4.
Yeah,
why the fuck can't the PS5 do it?
You can still play games off of the external hard drive on your PS4. You just can't play PS5 games that way. PS5
that's what I'm saying.
Have to be played on the
PS5 games. It's fucking ridiculous that you can't play it off of the external drive. Figure out how to fucking do it. I mean, you had the technology before. I mean, unless it's the fact that they're just so intense graphics wise that the even USB 3.0 can't actually keep up with the speed that's needed
I think
to
that might be
render.
part of it. I think that might be part of it. You know,
It's
I
the
want to
only
get
thing
through
I
these
can
real
think
quick
of is
because
that
we got to
it's
get
a
to the show.
rendering speed.
I want to get through these real quick because we want to get to Sam and Bucky. I got back into playing Fallout 76 this week. I'm really liking it. I liked it before, but they made a lot of improvements over the last like year and a half, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I played it a bit over the weekend. I played it a bit over the last week. I think I reinstalled it the day after this last week's show, and I've been kind of playing it here and there, and it's become a much more solid game. They added NPCs, they added more content. It is definitely one of those games that is much easier if you spend money on it, but because it's got microtransactions, but it's still a pretty solid game, and there's a lot of building aspect and it's some really fun games. So if you want to check that out, go back to Fallout 76 if you haven't been. Last thing I had here, pretty much everything else can wait. Apparently CD Projekt Red did say that they have no plans to abandon Cyberpunk 2077. The CEO stated that in a new interview he said we are not shelving it. We are planning on selling it for years. They're planning on continuing to develop it and update it. So fans of Cyberpunk 2077, even through all the glitches and the problems and the nightmare that was the opening, I think that this is a game that we are going to see a lot of in the next coming years. I also think they're never going to make this mistake again.
Well, and I think they need to do that. If they shelve this game, they lose millions of customers.
Yes, absolutely.
That will never buy a CD Projekt Red game again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be a huge mistake. And honestly, this game has so much potential. It's got a ton of potential. We really got to stick to it.
I gotta get back to it.
Do it. I'm holding off on starting a new game until I get through a couple other games or until they drop actual DLC, because they did drop the big 1.2 patch, which was one of the biggest patches I've ever seen, but they didn't really put it's not a whole lot of new stuff. It's just a lot of fixes. So I'm kind of waiting for them to actually some new stuff. Last but surely not least, guys, if you didn't check it out before, on our Facebook page is a link to the video about the new Optimus Prime toy. It was premiered over the weekend.
I sent you the link to it.
Oh my God. It was premiered over the weekend at basically an online Hasbro kind of like event. And
James
they got
and Bob actually were showing it off.
You got Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes to show off this amazing toy. It is $699. If I had an extra $699, I would have that.
If I had a spare $700, I'd be buying the motherfucker.
Absolutely, it is probably the most advanced, one of the most advanced toys I've ever seen. It's self-transforms. It's voice controlled. It's got an app you can control it with. It dances. It moves. It like I said, it self-transforms.
It shoots.
It talks. It responds to voice activation.
Yeah. If it's
in Peter Cullen's voice.
Yeah, and if it's in the if it's in the Optimus Prime robot
mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you say roll out, it transforms into the semi-trailer, the semi-truck, and drives away.
It converts, as they call it. Yeah, and I mean, even when he's standing there, there's thousands of pieces. There's like 23, circuit boards on it. I mean, I don't know. They talk about the specs in the video. It's amazing. Even when he's just standing there, it's like he's breathing. He moves ever so slightly, just so that it's like it's the coolest fucking thing.
Oh yeah.
The kid in me was losing his mind because I'm like, I want this so much.
I wasn't a huge Transformers fan when I was a kid. It was a little bit after me, just slightly. My younger brother, who's 2 years younger than me, was a huge Transformers kid. I wasn't. And so it was I was right on that edge of where the Transformers were. I thought they were cool, but I was never really into them. I still enjoyed them. I still enjoyed the show. I still enjoyed the movies. Well, most of the movies. Um, and all that, but and I can appreciate having Peter Cullen doing the voice because there is no other Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
When he passes, the Transformers are done because there is no other Optimus Prime.
They just need to no longer have Optimus.
Right. Then Optimus will have to be gone because no one else can do that.
Yeah. Just we'll stick with Ultra Magnus or something, but
yeah.
you know.
But yeah, so but watching that, I'm like, if I had the money, if I wasn't trying to get out of debt and pay everything off, I would get one of those because that's just cool as hell. And seeing Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes just geeking out about it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And
God.
Jason Mewes talking about how he's gonna buy one. He's like, no, you know what? I'm buying 2 of them. And I'm like, yeah, you rich motherfucker.
So CD said a couple things. He just was like, what? You know, and he's watching it now. Ghost Hand, dude, if you showed me that in the nights I would be selling drugs to buy it, you ain't kidding, man. I would have done the same thing. Fuck me. It's like, it's really fucking cool. And honestly, Ghost Hand, dude, the Transformers Devastation game was a blast. I love that game. I had that for my PS4. It is a lot of fun. It's G1, man. It's a G1 Transformers game. And it wasn't like, it still was very cartoony. It was computer animated, but it was made to look cartoony and not like computer animation. It was fucking, I had so much fun playing Devastation. It was a blast. So yeah, I think that's really all I got.
Should we start talking Sam and Bucky then?
We should talk Sam and Bucky. The name of tonight's episode, Chris, it needs to be called Blood on the Shield.
Oh my God, the end of that episode that's going to stick with me forever.
I know we normally go through the episode kind of hit by hit, and that's fine. We can do that. But I do want to deal with this with the end at first, kind of, because anybody that sees our show.
That was an amazing visual.
Yeah. Anybody that sees our show knows that there's always going to be a little bit of spoilers and stuff with it. So if you haven't seen it, go and watch it immediately. Episode 4. Now, I knew John Walker was going to break.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know the lore of the comic. I know the backstory of John Walker.
Yep,
and
me too.
Him being the character that he is. That being said, I knew he was going to break at some point. I didn't know they were going to kill Battlestar. And that actually
surprised me.
It did surprise me too. Because Battlestar was kind of it was like a voice of reason, honestly, for him. He was much calmer, cooler head, you know, and wasn't feeling the same amount of pressure as poor John Walker was, you know.
Well, no, because he was the sidekick.
He was the sidekick, right. He was the partner.
Yes.
And
sidekick.
They're not called sidekicks anymore. He's a partner. They set up John Walker to fail. Number one, they set up the character to be hated by the audience because he's not Steve.
Yep.
And the guy had the biggest shoes to fill ever. There's no greater character, of shoes to fill than Steve fucking Rogers. You know,
and you can see it happening. You can see him unraveling, and you can see the fact also that he wasn't clean cut. He always had that He always had that scruff.
Yeah, that scruff going. Yeah,
and that's not Cap. I mean, Cap was the clean-cut American boy.
Yeah. The only time he had that beard and whatnot was when he was kind of still in hiding.
Yeah.
So, yes, Cap has always been clean-cut. And, yeah, he always had the scruff. And it started off clean-cut. But you could tell as he starts unraveling, he starts getting to it. Scruff.
But
right. I kudos to the actor, honestly. Yeah. Kudos to the actor for what he did and how he did it.
Wyatt Russell has been actually really good.
Yeah.
His dad's a great actor. His mom's a great actor. But the Ghost Hand just said he really hopes that they delve into the PTSD angle. It's a major factor in Walker's actions.
It is. It's very much so.
And I think that's something. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, he even talks about it in this episode where
when they were in Afghanistan.
Yeah, Hoskins says, "You've got 3 medals of honor." you've got this. You make the right choices in battle and blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, I got those. They give us those medals to remind us of the worst day of our lives
Mm-hmm.
and what we did to get those.
Right. And so that was, and then he was like, and then he asked him about whether he would take the
Renee said bearded Steve Rogers was sexy as fuck.
I mean, Chris Evans really, he was America's ass. So, So he the character was set up to fail, yes, essentially. And when we see what happened, it was very powerful because Captain America doesn't murder a guy in cold blood and bludgeon him to death with his shield.
Yeah. And possibly decapitate him.
Yeah. Possibly decapitate him. Because that was the thing. I mean, he was fighting a super soldier. The guy that he was fighting had the serum. But so did John at that point.
So did John at that point. Yeah.
So he might have decapitated him. They also talk about, like, I read an article, something about how he didn't use the shield as creatively as Cap did until he got the soldier serum. Because, like, Cap could bounce the shield off of several opponents and get it back to him. At best, John was throwing it and catching it, getting it back to one guy. Like hitting one guy and catching it.
Or as they showed in the thing in like the Good Morning America video a couple episodes ago, mm-hmm. That he was throwing it more like a boomerang, where it would run through targets and then come back.
Yeah. So there's a lot of speculation of, like, okay, like, does it take a super soldier to actually use the shield?
Have a good night, same way? Man. Thanks a lot for coming.
Oh, thanks, man. But anyway, does it take a super soldier to be able to use it as well as Steve did? And what does that say about Sam being able to use it? Because Bucky could catch it and Bucky could use it very well as well. And does that come from the training he had with Steve and the experience he had with Steve, things like that? And then they also said they noted that after John took the super soldier serum, he was using the shield a lot more effectively. Does the serum improve more than just strength and agility and ability? Does it improve hand-eye coordination? Does it improve, just everything? That's one of those questions that I wonder. I mean, how much does the soldier serum improve?
Erskine said to Steve in the First Avenger, mm-hmm. He said one of the things he talks about is that the serum increases whatever you are. Good becomes great, bad becomes worse.
Right. And that goes. That's very accurate too.
Yes,
that was very.
And
accurate
that's something that we're seeing now with Walker, is that he's unhinged.
Yes,
he has issues, and after he takes that serum, they become worse.
And it was one of the points that they actually made that Zemo was making about, because he's obviously
Zemo makes the same thing about the serum.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about, like, that it corrupts you and blah, blah, blah.
Well, anyone who wants to be a super soldier is a supremacist,
right? And the thing about it though is, and then Bucky said, yeah, but it didn't do that to Steve.
And he had a cookie on his finger when he said this too.
Yeah, and he said, and Zemo goes, touche, but there's never been another Steve Rogers.
Yeah, with a cookie on his finger, which I thought was just fucking hilarious.
Right. So I honestly am really liking, as much as I didn't care for Zemo. I'm honestly
Zemo
liking.
I love Zemo in this.
In this, it's been really great.
He's hilarious. He's kind of like the. He's not really comic relief.
No, no, not at all.
But while he's not a good guy, because at one point, I mean, he escapes because Walker handcuffs him, and when Sam goes to talk to Carly, and Walker fucks that all up as
Yeah.
well because Sam's actually getting through to her, and they're having a good conversation, and Walker comes in and basically fucks the whole thing up, and the fight starts. But then Zemo escapes, of course, because you can't leave him alone.
Right.
He's going to escape, and then he comes upon Carly and just starts shooting, and actually shoots her, grazes her, but he keeps shooting at her. Right. She drops all the super soldier serum. And he's like, "Is this what I think it is?" And he slams one down. And that's the thing. You see him at first, and he's looking at it, and you're like, "Oh, is he gonna,
what's he gonna do?" Because he's such an opportunist. So you're thinking, okay, is he gonna do something with this? No, man, he just starts stamping.
He smashes it and starts smashing every one of them with his feet, and he keeps doing that until Walker comes in and smacks him with the shield.
Yeah, throws it, boom, just in the face.
Knocks him out, and then Walker sees one vial that's still left that he hadn't smashed, that was hidden over between some water bottles.
Yeah, and that's what that's how he got it.
Yeah, he pockets it.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, well, that makes sense to me, that he's going to do that.
He's like, no, fuck this. This all needs to be destroyed.
Right. Because he has an agenda. Zemo has an agenda.
Yep.
Just, and we know that he's going to end up screwing over, Sam and Bucky at some point because he has an agenda.
Yep.
It was one of the things that I was telling Stella. I was like, he totally has an agenda.
He's not going back. And he doesn't want to go back to jail.
Right. But he's very smart. He's probably got 2-3 steps ahead.
Yep.
And he's got a plan. And he's going to use Sam and Bucky to accomplish that.
Yep.
I also
I like that he stuck to his beliefs.
Yeah.
And that fuck it. This all needs to be destroyed.
Right. This is not good. Now, I personally feel like the super soldier serum doesn't corrupt you. I don't think the serum itself corrupts your brain. I think the idea or the having that much power is one of those examples of power corrupting, because if you're suddenly a normal person and then all of a sudden you're 4 times stronger, faster, whatever else, that you can bend steel, that you can, run faster than a car, you're going to have a tough time not feeling superior. So it's something, it takes somebody like Steve, somebody who's extremely moral, somebody that's extremely ethical, to be able to overcome those base kind of things about what humans are.
And the thing is, I don't even think it's necessarily that. I think it's what the same thing that Eskin said, and that's that it enhances who you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a good person, you become great. If you're not a good person, then you don't become. Then you become more of what you are. Mm-hmm. If you have those negatives and those faults, to where you see yourself as better than others, or you want that power, or anything like that, that's where the corruption comes in.
Yeah,
it's honestly that whole thing of it. It's like and I hate to use a Bill Cosby thing, but Bill Cosby talked about cocaine in like one of his stand-up specials.
Bill Cosby himself.
Yes, Bill Cosby himself. He said cocaine it enhances your personality, but what if you're an asshole?
But what if you're an asshole? Yes, I love that, because that was the only time in
he actually swore.
He swore in that. I mean, he said "damn it," but it was the only time he actually said anything stronger than "damn it" was.
Yeah. But what if you're an asshole? And that's the thing. I think that's what the serum does. It enhances who you are. So if you're an asshole, you become a super asshole. And if you're a good guy, then you become a great guy.
Yeah. And Steve was.
Yes.
He was a great guy. I always said, like,
Steve
could you imagine?
A paladin, yes.
Could you imagine what he would have been like if he hadn't been scrawny?
Yeah.
If he had some scrawny little guy, he would have been. The serum would have turned him into a giant. Yeah. Anyway, so the episode was really solid. I mean, I think one of the other things that showed how John was degrading was the fight with the Dora Milaje.
The Dora Milaje.
Malage, thank you. I always fuck that
That
up.
fight
Oh my
was
god.
fucking cool as hell.
Right. I mean,
The
the fact of the matter is that John got his ass kicked by
well,
like at least one of the Dora Milaje. Was it again?
Malage.
Malage, thank you.
Dorma Malage.
The Dora Milaje. And the thing is, they are some of the most highly trained fighters in the world.
Yes.
They've been training probably since they were children.
Well,
and on top of it have vibranium spears and
yes.
probably other vibranium gadgets in their repertoire that allow them to be. I mean, they're like the Mossad times 10. Okay, you don't fuck with them. Okay, and he was like
had no idea who they were.
He knew who they were, but he didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean that spear comes in and winds up in that pillar,
right
at the beginning, and he's already put the shield down because he's arguing with Sam. He's like, "You want me to put the shield down? You make it a fair fight."
Yeah.
And so he does. He puts the shield down. Then the spear comes in, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And they come in. Yeah, and he starts talking with him. He's like, listen, let's just settle down here. And he goes and puts his hand on her shoulder, and I'm like, oh,
big
that's
mistake.
A mistake.
Mistake. I loved how he was like, "Hi, John Walker."
John Walker, yeah, Captain America.
Captain America. It's just.
And I loved the whole like smack with the shield or with the spear, and then bam, and she throws him back into the other spear and knocks him down.
Yeah. And the thing, I mean, it was well choreographed. It was really cool, but it also was one of those things that helped or continued to break him down because he was like, they weren't even super soldiers.
Well, that's the thing. He says that at the end, but that whole fight scene though, and they're fighting, and Sam and Bucky are just standing back, and they're like,
right.
Well, should we do something?
Should we do something?
And then they're just making comments.
Yeah. And then finally they do end up getting involved.
Yeah, because they stop him from basically killing him.
Yeah, exactly.
But the one scene though where the one throws the spear and pins his arm and shield to the table,
right,
with the throw rather than hurting him.
Yes,
just pins the shield there, and he's like stuck, and he's trying to get his arm out, and then she just comes over and grabs the spear out later. But then during
the piece de resistance was when she kicked the shield and came up on her arm
and grabbed it. Yeah,
oh my god!
But also during that whole fight where they're doing the whole thing, and Zemo just like, fuck you, I'm going in the bathroom and closing the door.
Close the door. He just pieces out, man.
Like, peace out, see ya.
And he takes the secret passage out, and
he yelled Chapos as they put it. He's like, I don't believe he yelled Chapoed.
He got the fuck out, and then he that was really funny too. I mean that's one of those points where like, man, Zemo's been pretty fucking cool around in this one. I mean he was completely hateable in Civil War. Like in Civil War, he was just so obnoxious and so hateable, and you're like, oh, I hate this guy. And then in this movie, you kind of love to hate him. You're like, for this show, you're like, wow. I mean,
at the very beginning, they're talking at his little safe house there, and they're talking, and they're talking about him killing that
the doctor,
and he's like, let's not quibble about what may or may not have happened.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's no question. You straight up shot the man.
Yeah.
I'm like, Zemo's trying to gaslight them the whole time.
Oh, yeah. The whole time. And like I said, he's got an agenda. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he's going to get what he wants any way he can.
Yep.
And one of his major things is he doesn't want superhumans.
Yep.
Superhumans need to go.
He is a little bit of comic relief, CD, but he's not. And that's one of the things I thought of. I'm like, he's kind of comic relief, but he's not. He's different. He's comic relief, but he's an antagonist still. Right.
He's like I'd say he's more like the Mirror, I mean, where he's more like that. He's that voice of reason almost, you know.
He's a good side foil. That's a good way to put it. He's the good side foil.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yes, thank you, CD. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's a foil.
Because he's not really the villain. He is,
At least not
yeah,
yet. He may
not
wind
yet.
up becoming the villain.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. So, but like I said, once again, I am just absolutely loving what they're doing with this whole with.
Well, so
Yeah.
and then there's other things too, but like you said, the one Dora Milaje where she kicks the shield up and it just grabs it and she's like, leave it, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, okay, and she hands it back to Walker, and then he does say the line about they weren't even super soldiers,
Right, they weren't even super soldiers.
and he got his ass kicked.
Yep. Well,
Oh, and
dude.
but in that same fight, Ao is fighting with Bucky,
Yeah.
and she reaches out, and
Oh,
goes bam, and like does the like this nerve hit on his arm, and then goes boom, 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 and his arm just falls the fuck off.
yeah, and he's like shocked.
He's
He's
like,
like,
what the fuck?
you know, and yeah, and then he, later on, Sam comes up to him, and after he
Did you know
kind of
they could do that?
hooks it back on, and you see it was kind of cool to see the hook on part,
Yeah.
the attachment there.
Yeah.
And I'm just it attaches it back
And
on,
then like
kind of shakes it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool too. That how it was over sped up and vroom, and he's just
Yeah.
and he's like, "Did you know they could do that?" No. It's just like,
well, and I posted a thing on Facebook today because I saw it and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. It shows that scene where they reach out and then Bucky's arms on the ground, and then the next scene is it's not really Rocket, but it's a raccoon face on a person's body.
it's Raccoon's face on Doctor Strange's body.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "Teach me, master."
Right. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious. And honestly, to kind of get back to Sebastian and his performance. I mean, the opening scene where they're deprogramming him.
Oh yes, we went 6 years in the past.
Right, and that was really powerful. I mean, just him struggling through that was pretty incredible. So, hats off to him on that one. That was pretty incredible. I don't know, man. I think we hit on all the points, dude. That was.
The only other thing I want to say is I don't trust Sharon Carter.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that she's still a good guy. I'm not convinced that she is not either working for the power broker or possibly is the fucking power broker.
That's not a bad theory. It would be sad because
it would
Sharon
be sad,
Carter, that's Sharon Carter Breaking Bad, basically,
Yeah.
Because in the comics, Sharon's Steve's girlfriend, and she's the daughter of Peggy Carter, or the niece of Peggy Carter. I mean, that's a lot. So, it's a good theory, though. It's a good theory. I
don't entirely trust her yet, and part of that is in this episode with when Sam calls her and she's walking through a bunch of barricades with a bunch of armed guards, like it's nothing, and it's like, okay, well, where the fuck is she, and why is she walking through these all these armed guards?
I think she's definitely hiding shit. Like,
oh, definitely. She's had to do some shit.
She has to stay alive. She definitely has to do some shit.
She basically got abandoned.
Yeah.
For helping them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The government just,
she's been disavowed.
Disavowed. Yep. So I don't know, man. I mean, geez, it's.
Yes, as Renee said, needed to survive after her country abandoned her.
Right.
Which,
like a lot of these people that were disaffected by the blip.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Is that's one of the things they've kind of made clear in this episode is that what this actually is that Carly's fighting for, and it's that it's not just fighting to have the status quo. This is a large number of people who, when the blip happened, when the snap happened, the world needed people,
right,
in different areas. So people moved, to actually help out in other areas,
to help rebuild
and things like that. And they had homes and jobs. And now when everyone comes back, all these people have been displaced because they're like, "Fuck you! This is my house. Get the fuck out."
Right, exactly.
And they've been forced out. And so now, as the one guy says, when Sam confronts him and says, talks about being refugees, he's like, "We're not refugees. We're not trying to get away from anything. We're displaced." And that's what the whole point of this is that they're trying to deal with this huge thing. So the other thing I realized is this is happening at the same time as like Spider-Man Far From Home, which didn't touch on any of this stuff.
Right. Well, it was, I think it was still kind of fresh, Far From Home was still only like maybe 6 months after it happened. That's all this
is supposed to be.
No,
it's like 6 months after. This is only like 6 months later.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is only a few months after the end of the blip. It might even be 3 months. They talked about it.
I think it's longer than that because some of these camps that they've established have obviously been active for a while. I don't think it's like more than a year, but I think it's more than 3 months for sure.
Falcon and Winter Soldier said about 6 months after Avengers Endgame.
Okay, so about 6 months. All right, you were right about the first time. Interesting. Well,
it's after Avengers Endgame and WandaVision.
Okay. Well, it's the world obviously still has a lot of healing to do in this setting, and I'm glad that they're doing. It's one of those things, man. I'm glad that they're doing that they're dealing with it, because that was a huge thing, making that choice, man, making it 5 years later that they were gone for everybody's gone for 5 years. That was a big story element thing, man.
People, that was the thing. Renee and I were talking about it, and she said something about it, it's almost worse that they brought people back, because after 5 years people had moved on.
Right.
They had established new new lives, new careers, things like that, and bringing everyone back destroyed that.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it was one of those things that it's like it fucked with everybody's lives so much. 5 years is enough time to heal from the loss of a loved one, at least to start moving on, to the next stage of your life. And, then they all come back and you're like, what the fuck, man? Now I got all this pain all over again,
Yep.
So,
but yeah, I think that pretty much covers most of the show. We kind of did it in a reverse order, but
we did. But I think it was an important thing. Seeing John Walker do that was very powerful, because
last scene with him standing there with the shield with the blood on it, though,
and all the people just filming it, and oh my god,
that is going to stick with me for a long fucking time.
It really is, man. Blood on the shield, man.
That was
Captain American.
That was a well shot.
Yeah.
For the director, I will give him or her credit because I don't know who directed this one. But that one right there is it was an amazingly shot scene.
Yeah. Well, like, and Stella asked me, like, what's the difference between, like him, like Captain America doing something, like Captain America fought in the war, and did he not kill people? And I go, yeah, he probably did. But war is different from what's going on here. She goes, well, the guy was a terrorist. I go, yes, he was a terrorist, but he had surrendered. He was unarmed. He
was unarmed and surrendered, and somebody still hit him.
Shut up. I wasn't trying to kill the character. I told you it was non-lethal damage. Jesus Christ. Anyway, the
I
fact
hear
that
Renee laughing downstairs.
the fact of the matter is, John lost his shit. At the very least, he could maybe say that he was distraught because his friend had just been killed, but he still straight up.
Well, that was the other
that
thing.
guy.
Yeah, that was the thing. Them killing Battlestar really did surprise me. That was a big thing, and that really is, I think, one of the things that really tipped him way over the edge. I mean, Walker was on the edge to begin with.
Yes, he really was. And I think the death of his best friend and partner was what really just pushed him all the way over. So it should be interesting to see how this is going to play out, how they're going to get the shield from him, what his future is, what John Walker's future is in the MCU.
I think he's going to become a U.S. agent.
I think he is too. I think they're going to.
Sam's going to get the shield, and he's going to become U.S. agent.
Sam's going to take the shield.
Yes.
And the thing is the government's not going to be able to like that was viral. I mean, that image is going to go viral. So the government is going to have to respond, and there's no way that they're going to be able to keep John Walker with that shield after that.
Yeah,
screwed up too bad. Even with him, but they're not gonna not utilize him because now he's their super soldier. He got that serum.
Yes, he
did. We should wrap things up. It's getting late, guys. Thanks for joining us again, CD. And I know Ghost had to ghost out. Yeah, he had to split, hand. But Ghost Hand, thank you. He had to leave, but you can be an evil paladin. But yeah. My name, God damn it, Renee, fuck you. Oh my God. I'm not an evil paladin, all right? Take this. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us.
She said you are.
I saw it. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. You could download and stream us on all the places you find quality podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. We are on iTunes. We are on Google Play Store. We are on StitcherRadio.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, you can download and stream all of our episodes at www.nerdswithalcoholshow.com. Every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock here on our Twitch channel, Drinking Nerds, and then a couple days later on YouTube.
And you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram, Drinking Nerds. Although we haven't put much up there lately, we probably should start back up. And then we are on Untapped, the beer drinking app. Just search for Drinking Nerds and send us a friend request, and we will get you added.
Absolutely.
So I think that's going to about do it for tonight.
That should do it.
All right. I think until next time. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Sorry.
All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.